was written by humans. The Bible was not. Again, it depends on how you define writing. Like, if I use a pen and I write something down, is the pen? Can I say that the pen is writing? Am I writing? Like, it would just depend upon like the semantical framework that you're using. I would say if I'm using a pen and I write something down, I wrote it down, meaning the agent behind the pen is what's actually writing. It just is the case that God used human beings as the instruments, and so that God is actually the one that's writing, but human beings are the means by which the word is actually being produced. So it's a little bit tricky when you say that humans wrote the word. I would push back on that.
I don't know if pens are a good analogy to use, comparing pens to people, especially as people are, conscious beings with actual thoughts and can actually think over things and write them down before they write them. So I don't think that pens is the best analogy to use God. But I understand the analogy, but I don't think it's always good. What does it mean to be inspired by God? What does that look like? Is it like God taking control of your hand? I feel like it's a little too,
Yeah,
subjective.
that's actually a really good question, Atron. I think you're really, really being intellectually honest here, and I want to applaud you because you're one of the very few atheists I see on here that is like genuinely asking good questions, and I think it's like actually committed to a good faith conversation. Now, look, everything is determined, right? And so we talk about compatibilistic free will. We talk about the fact that, well, there's the antecedent conditions to every action is going to be explained, that your actions aren't random, but your actions are ultimately derived from a deterministic framework. So like your thoughts are ultimately determined. It is the case that when you think something or do something, it could not have been otherwise. Right. And so like that's it. That's just simply going to be because God is necessary, which I can explain why God has to be necessary. But again, like, look, dude, God inspired these individuals, and in God's plan, in his in his plan of history, he has preordained these individuals to write his word. Right now, again, they wrote the word. Like, yes, they are the people that had the rational thought that actually put the pen to the paper and wrote words. But God, in his sovereign plan, has prescribed that to happen. He determined it to happen that way. He determined his word to get across in that specific way.
Why do you think it has to be necessary? I'm actually curious on that. I haven't fully are you reasoning that. I
Oh,
said it, but I do want you to repeat it.
yeah. Gods can be necessary for a bunch of different reasons. Firstly, it is the case that there must be a unifying state or a unifying identity statement by which all propositional states are derived, and that unifying identity state has to be necessary because if it's not necessary, then there is no ontological framework for truth, which pretty much means that reality wouldn't even exist. So either you're going to have to invoke some necessary state of ultimate intention by which all propositional states can actually be derived. If you don't have a state of ultimate intentionality, then your propositional states are just going to be meaningless because when you speak about the world, like when you say, I, A train, exist, well, you're just simply saying that that proposition has some correspondence to reality. But the problem is, if there is no ultimate unifying principle that has the connective property that allows that propositional state to be in correspondence with reality, well, then now your proposition is just baseless. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that because possibility exists in our reality, we know that that necessity has to exist. So we know possibility exists because something exists. So in order for anything to exist, it must be at least possible for that thing to exist, right? So we know possibility must exist. Now, if it's possible for things to exist, it can't be possible that possibility doesn't exist. Because if it was possible that possibility doesn't exist, that means nothing would exist. So it can't be possible that possibility doesn't exist, which means it must be necessarily possible that possibility exists. This is where we get necessity, right? And so this is where we understand that there has to be a necessary existence. Now you can probably say, well, the laws of logic are necessary. And I'm just going to simply say, well, the laws of logic, are they necessarily dependent or are they necessarily independent? And that's where you're going to still run into a problem. So, yeah, just like some
Okay.
brief
Yeah, fair
understanding.
enough. I mean, I guess my personal response to that would be like, when you say, you said, of course, quite a lot of stuff. You said, of course, it has to be necessary. And you said we can't have truths or there's no way to finding truth or principles of truth without God is. It kind of felt like a little word sandwich. I'm not gonna lie, word salad of like you're kind of amalgamating a lot of different words to try and make a point. But I don't necessarily believe that we need. You said a unifying and being and unifying deity. I don't think we need a unifying deity for propositions to be true. As you mentioned, the laws of logic, which I'd absolutely say are not dependent on any higher power.
Okay. So, sir, look. In your
Necessary.
worldview, what dictates what is and what cannot be?
Pardon? What do you mean by what is and cannot be?
Yeah. So, in your worldview, what dictates what is true and what is not true?
So basically moving into epistemology here, and of
No,
course,
this isn't epistemology. This is ontology.
no, it kind of links together because in terms of what we know and what we don't know, and when you're trying to get into the kind of specifics of it, of course, you can get into the point of, well, how do we know anything, and or how do you know?
No, sir. Okay,
It
look,
too
A
skeptical.
train.
It just
You're
turns
A
into
train. You're not understanding what I'm
no, I'm
presenting.
understanding,
Okay,
but you're kind of
A train.
not
No,
adding up.
you're talking
Just give
about
me 1 second.
epistemic. I'm
Just
not
give me a
talking
moment.
about you having a
Just give me a
reason
moment.
to believe something. What I'm talking about is what is your ultimate grounding for truth, right? So when you say that something is true, you're saying that this thing is in correspondence with reality, correct?
We can, of course, only use empirics to come to that. That's what you don't
No,
understand.
no, no, no.
Empirics is the
Okay, so
only
sir,
way.
so you think truth is only derived from empirical verification?
That's absolutely one of the cases. There's no other way in which we could even come to
Okay,
truth based on
okay,
what we experience and what we know. You trying to come
okay,
up with some other ulterior methods, trying to use principles, doesn't
okay.
actually add up, and you don't need a god to be able to do that. But I don't know that you understand that, and that's the issue.
Okay, so do you only accept things that can be scientifically proven or empirically verified?
That is true.
So can you scientifically so this is what we call a self-refuting proposition. Materialism, naturalism are all self-refuting. So I'm going to demonstrate to you the paradox. So when you say you only accept things that can be scientifically proven, right? Um, can you scientifically prove that we should only accept things that can be scientifically proven?
You said, can we scientifically prove that we should only accept things that can be scientifically proven? Number
Yeah.
one, that's the only logical way, using logic to actually come to things with the laws of identity, laws of non-contradiction, and the laws of the exclusive middle. That's the only literal way that we can actually come to logical reasoning and actually come to conclusions using empirics.
Okay.
Use other
Okay.
things like God and trying to use metaphysics and other things as stuff that is, not grounded in reality.
Okay. Okay.
The big issues where you
Okay.
have no evidence for it, and then
Okay, sir. Sir. Okay, so sir, so what is your empirical verification for the laws of logic?
you said, "What is my empirical?" See, the laws of
Yeah,
logic.
you said you only accept things that can be scientifically proven. So scientifically prove that the laws of logic are true. Go ahead.
It's an action. It's the basis of reality.
Okay, sir, you can't just so look, that's the
That
problem.
is
So
literally
look.
the only literal way we can come to conclusions in anything. And the same with God as well. Without laws of logic, you couldn't even have a God either. God wouldn't make sense. But regardless, because there's no empirical evidence of him, there's no proper reason
Okay.
to actually believe him to be true.
Okay, so sir, we wouldn't have. Okay, so there's a couple different problems. So like you just said, so I want you to just see the contradiction that you just made. You just said that you
No
only accept
contradiction.
things that can be scientifically proven. But when I ask you that can you scientifically prove that laws of logic are true, you say no. So you don't only accept things that can be scientifically proven because we cannot scientifically prove the laws of logic are true.
It's a
You just admitted
basis.
the laws
So
of
it's
logic
a
are the
basis.
mechanism.
It's literally the basis and foundation to how we
Okay,
come to
but can we
scientifically
empirically
as well.
verify it is
It is
true?
proven.
Can
Yes, we
we empirically?
scientifically come to that. It's
Okay, so
literally
how do
in
we
the basis
scientifically
of
prove the laws of
reality.
logic?
That's
How do we
literally how.
scientifically? Okay,
Hold on 1 second. Just listen. Hold on 1 second. You don't hold on 1 second, son. Let me explain it to you. That's literally the basis of how we come to conclusions. We can only use the laws of logic. I've literally explained to you
okay.
how we
A
need to
train, A
come to
train. I
basic
understand
reason.
what you're
That's
saying,
the
bro.
case.
I'm asking you a question that you're not answering me.
And to be
You
fair, you
keep
haven't
deflecting from
given
the
me
question. It's
evidence.
a
You
yes or no
just come up with a
question.
word salad and
A
said what's
train.
necessary and we need.
Can you
Hold on 1 second, brother.
scientifically prove the laws of logic are
Peter,
true? That's
Peter.
my question.
Just listen. You've given me long, verbose explanations,
A
but you haven't
train,
provided.
please answer my question, bro. I don't.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second. See, I appreciate the heart me. Thank you so much. Q-Tip, in understanding. Again, I've tried to explain this to you in a simple way, but you just seem to not be following on. Again, with the laws of logic, they are
I'm
grounded in
answering my
reality.
questions,
A
bro.
necessary thing. to be able to come to conclusions using empirics and scientific evidence. They are a necessary thing that we need. A God is not necessary. There is no evidence of a God. There's no reason behind God. There is nothing. You have not provided anything. Hence, I have to reject the claim that he's true. I had to mute because it was just consistently speaking.
So this is what you're not understanding, because there's gonna be a ultimate presupposition in reality by which everything is derived, right? And this is what when we talk about when we say the unifying principle or the ultimate intentionality, which is going to be God. Ultimate intentionality can only exist if and only if God
Why
exists.
does the ultimate
And
intentionality
one
have to be God?
second, I don't want to
Can you say
deflect,
that?
sir. A-Train, you were
I'm not
doing really
deflecting. You
good,
just
and
made a
now you're
claim. I'm just asking you to explain your claim. You said the ultimate intentionality has to be taught. Can you explain exactly the evidence you have
okay. Yeah,
behind
I'll
that?
explain it, and then we'll get back to the question I was asking you. Yeah, so ultimate intentionality can only exist if and only if God exists, because ultimate intentionality requires agency or dictation. So what that simply means is that this thing that is ultimately intentional, right? And that means it has intentional states, and if something has intentional states, it has volition or will, right? Something cannot intend something to occur if the thing itself does not have the properties by which intention is possible. And the only property set by which
Why does that
intention is
require God?
possible.
That
Hey,
just
hey,
doesn't
hey, hey,
require
A
God, though.
Train, please. A Train, you've
That
been doing
you're not
really
making
A
sense.
Train. I've been
You're
trying
not
to
making
finish a.
sense. You're giving word
Okay,
salads when
dude,
that doesn't
look,
actually make
dude.
sense.
A
Like,
Train,
I'm
you've been
sorry,
doing really good,
that's
and
not
I
required.
genuinely respected
That's not
you, and
required.
now
I'm sorry.
you're.
Okay,
This is what
Tito,
always.
I'm sorry, but you're not making
A
sense. You're giving
Train,
word
this is what
salads.
always
You're
happens where
giving
you
word salads that are contradictory, and
you
it's not
start off
adding
good
up.
with a disguise, then you just go ahead and spiral out of control, right?
Top. I'm
Off
sorry,
really
but
good,
again, I
and
know
then
it sucks when you realize your ideology is
spiral
bad,
out of
but
control. A
hold on one
Train,
second, my dear boy. Hold on
you're
one second, my dear
spiraling
boy.
out of control.
Just, just
Started
relax. Just
off,
relax. Just relax. Calm
started
down.
off,
You're giving. Just
start,
relax. Just relax. Just
start,
relax. Speak up. Just relax.
started
Okay. Okay.
off really
Okay.
good, and
Okay. I'm sorry. I can't debate you if you're not gonna listen. I'm sorry. I'd love to debate you, but you're just giving me long verbose explanations with no evidence, and unfortunately I had to remove you. Like, you weren't providing evidence. I was questioning you. You weren't providing evidence. Like, it's too difficult. I heard you out. I listened to your flawed logic, and it made no sense. Listen, if you want to provide a proper debate where we have time to speak about this without this, and we have a proper host who can, give reasons, then we can absolutely do that. But you have not provided any evidence. You've just given me word salads without explaining exactly what you mean.